Good morning, Comms Club. Welcome to video number 11 on my March marathon to offer you reminders or new top tips or skills that you can use in March to make sure that you put some spring into your communication this year. Now, today is an interesting topic because I want to talk to you about audience filters. So sometimes when we have a message to communicate, we worry about us, how we look, how we sound, what we're going to say. Is it the right thing? Is it enough? Is it everything that we want to say? And is it fit for purpose? When actually the key to really powerful and impactful communication is to think about what the audience is doing and wants to hear. Morning, Diane. Now, Diane, this is a brilliant topic for you to join me with this morning. We're talking about audience filters. So Diane, you have probably heard me talk about this sort of thing before, but I'm going to bend your ear because it's a good reminder. So someone like Diane who has got, she's got an Etsy shop, she's got a YouTube channel, she is a Reiki healer and all sorts of other strings to her bow. For someone like Diane, this message is really, really important because it's all about the filters that her audience will put on every message, every live, every piece of communication they receive from her. Because Diane, in running a business, has got one shot, which is to get her message through the barrage of information that those clients or potential clients are receiving on a daily basis, to make sure that her clients hear her, understand her and purchase from her or with her if they are if it's the right thing for them to do and if they are the right sort of people for her to work with. And therefore it's knowing that people will listen to what you say and they are filtering every single word that you say, and they are applying two filters. The first filter your audience is applying when they listen to you bang on about something is this interesting? The second filter, is this relevant to me? So is this interesting to me and is this relevant to me? If you know that those are the two filters that your audience is going to be applying, then you have a much better chance of success, because everything that you say will be geared towards hitting one or both of those hot buttons. You will therefore try and make what you are saying interesting and relevant. Now we'll come on to talk about how can you make sure that everything you say is relevant to everyone that hears you. The short answer now is you can't, but I'll explain why shortly. But let's just talk about this opportunity that you've got to communicate, particularly business messages. And I work with lots of independent run businesses, with business owners who are struggling to promote what they do, get their core values across, help people understand what they do and why they do it. And it's often because they're so busy looking internally and vomiting their life story all over their audience that they actually forget the gift is in to pick pieces of the story that their audience are likely to find interesting and allow them to decide whether that business is relevant, that service, that offer is relevant to them or not. And that is often done in the first few seconds of a piece of communication. So they say a first impression is created in 7 seconds. So therefore in your communication, you have got 7 seconds worth of time to at least hit one of those hot buttons, interesting or relevant. If you hit one of those buttons, the chances are that person that's listening to you is going to stay with you to the end of your piece of communication. If you miss the opportunity to hit both of those buttons for somebody that's listening, the chances are if they can get out of finishing listening to you, they will. So if they're listening to you online, they'll probably just scroll through. If they are listening to you in a business meeting, they'll just switch off and start compiling a shopping list in their mind. And if you are in a business meeting, then they are likely to look as if they're paying attention, but be thinking about something else, and you run the risk of being not very memorable. So you miss an opportunity. Now, I talk a lot about making sure that your communication is clear, because clear is kind. And therefore, the best top tip that I can give you in this short video is to say, at the beginning of your presentation, your piece of communication, your networking meeting pitch, your explanation, your introduction to who you are, in those first few seconds, be crystal clear about who you are and what you want to talk about. Because at least in that stage where someone's forming their first opinion of you, you can allow them very kindly to decide whether listening to you for the rest of your conversation is worth it or not, because it is of interest to them or it is relevant to them. So to illustrate that point, the first thing I did was welcomed you to this video and said, today I'm going to be talking about the audience filters that people apply when they're listening to you. Now, if you were happening to scroll through Facebook and you wanted to come across a video on how to manage speaking nerves, I've just given you an opportunity in the first couple of seconds to know that that's not what this video is about. So whilst you might find the topic interesting, it's not relevant to what you wanted to learn today. So I am being very clear, and therefore I am being kind in allowing you not to add extra information into your already overworked brain in a busy day, and you can go and find your video on relaxation and managing nerves. So Diane, I learnt this the hard way. You talked for too long before I got to the point. You're not alone. And therefore, to be able to find the clarity, because clear is kind, at the beginning of a piece of information is a gift. Because automatically, someone might think, say I went to a networking meeting and everybody's doing their 90-second story or pitch or whatever you want to call it, business story I like to call it. And someone says, hello everybody, my name's Louise and I am a puppy trainer. Now, I don't have a dog. I've got no intention of getting a dog. The rest of her business information is irrelevant to me. So she hasn't been able to tick that box for me, but actually she's been really kind, because now I can decide whether I'm really paying attention or not. So I don't want to have the services of a puppy trainer. So she's missed the relevant box for me, but that's okay because I'm not her target market. But actually, if she talks to me in a way that explains why she does what she does, she's passionate about who she is and why she runs a puppy training business, the chances are I might still find her 90-second story interesting. So it might tick the interesting box for me, but it might not tick the relevant box. Now, what happens if that outcome is achieved? Well, I won't be wanting her services. I'm not likely to catch her after the meeting and say, oh, can we have coffee because I've got an unruly Doberman that I need to rein in. But what I might do is, when my friend gets a new puppy, I might say to him, oh, I heard from this brilliant lady called Louise at a networking meeting, and her puppy training business is called X. You should look her up on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever she is. If you are interesting, you'll become memorable, even if what you're saying isn't of service or relevant or useful to the person that's hearing you. So those two audience filters, if you know they exist, you can choose to share content around your business message that hits the interesting to me and or relevant to me box. And people will continue to listen to you if you're interesting, even if they're not relevant. And sometimes we miss opportunities because what we've got to offer somebody is so relevant to them. But if we deliver it in a really uninteresting way, the chances are they'll switch off and never realise that what we offer is relevant to them, because they didn't even get to the end of our chat or our pitch because we weren't interesting. So it's helpful to know this, and therefore the clearer you become about what you're about to talk about, what you do in business, the quicker somebody can filter your information to decide whether they want to continue listening to you. So say you joined this video today hoping that I was going to talk about a skill that you could use communicating with your kids. I've told you in the first few seconds, today's video is not about that. So you can then just scroll on. Because the other thing that this helps you do is, when you think about your audience filters, it reminds you that your audience is made up of lots of people who will be judging and making assumptions and forming opinions about what you do and what you share. And they will be, in the moment, forming them on interesting and relevant. But overall, they are trying to decide whether they feel connected to you, whether they feel you are the sort of person that could offer them something of value in business. And it reminds us that our audiences are made up of hugely varied people. And so it's an opportunity to say, I must remember that who I am and what I do and how I do it will not be of interest or service to most of the people that I know. That's just fact. If you try and make everything you do, despite how passionate you are about it, if you think everybody in the world needs an organised daily planner that they can use to plan their lives, the chances are you're going to fall short of that expectation that everybody's going to want to buy your planner. I think communication is an incredible life skill. I believe any human being on the planet who intends to interact with another human being would benefit from doing it well. That doesn't mean 100% of the people that I know feel the same, want to improve, or are willing at any point in their lives to invest financially to do it. That doesn't mean what I offer isn't good value and relevant and interesting. It just means that I'm managing my own expectations. And when we speak, knowing that what we say should only be likely to resonate with about 5% of the people that hear us. We're not looking to make a client or a customer out of every person that hears us speak or that we meet. You are, chances are, only going to hit the interesting and relevant spot for about 5% of the people that you know. 5% of your client base are likely to want to buy whatever it is you're talking about today. 5% of the people that see an advert might convert to actually purchase it. It's a tiny percentage of your entire network. That doesn't mean you should change your message. If anything, excuse me, I think that gives you permission to step up and own your message. So going back to you, Diane, picking on you, that teaches you to join me live. You know, not everybody believes in the value of crystals. Not everybody wants to have an array of their crystals out to charge under a new moon. Not everybody believes in alternative healing. And not everybody wants to be reikied by a woman. And not everybody wants to go to a treatment room that is in the back garden of somebody's house. So not everybody knows what a result it is for them to receive a treatment in Butterfly Cove. But some people do. Some people love crystals. Some people hugely understand the healing power of crystals. Some people would love and only want to be treated by a Reiki practitioner who's a woman. And some people don't want to go to a salon. They want to go to an intimate, comfortable, informal environment to receive their treatment. You want to be talking to those people. So therefore, own your message. Be who you are and talk about what you do and why you do it. Because when you do that, the chances are you are going to come across as interesting to your tribe, to that 5% that are looking for you. They will find what you say and how you say it and what you talk about interesting, and they will understand the relevance. When we try and become all things to all people, we just end up being vanilla. And actually no one really remembers us, and we serve nobody in the fullness of time. When we know that people are filtering what we say to decide whether we have value in their world, and that we are only going to be of value to a small percentage of everybody that we see or hear, you are almost blessing the people that you are not the right service provider or coach for. You're blessing and releasing them to go, because you've been so clear about what you are and what you do and why you do it, that you've allowed them really kindly to see you in all your glory. And if you are not their person, then they've got the ability to move on and not think a second thought about it. So Diane, I'm just reading your comment. You told me once or twice to find your tribe, and that's something that helped my confidence, and I'll find the right people. You will, because the people that you don't gel with and that they wouldn't be your ideal client, they won't resonate with what you're saying. They won't either find it interesting or it won't be relevant to them. That doesn't mean they stay glued to every word that you say. They watch every piece of communication you put out. They vote, they like or dislike every video you do, and they talk about you over dinner every night. They don't care. If you're not interesting and you're not relevant to them, they've moved on. They've gone to find the person who is authentic in their communication, who is clear in what they do, why they do it, and how they do it, and that they are then the 5% of the right tribe for them. So you've let them go. So nobody's watching you who doesn't want to be there. So it feels very empowering, and it gives you freedom to step into the space where you can authentically own who you are and what you do. So the last point I want to make in this video, I've just forgotten it. Come on. It was on the tip of my tongue. Blessing, release, let them go, 95%, 5%. Oh, what was I just going to say? I know what it was. So clearly these are live and not scripted. But I did create an outline because I'm always prepared, because I have thought, what could be interesting to you? What might you find relevant? And this is the last part I don't want to go without saying, is that when you are thinking about that initial messaging or that repetitive messaging about your business, I find there's 3 areas you could talk about: who you are, what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. So forget who you are. 3 areas: what you do, how you do it, why you do it. When you want to connect with people and you're looking for your 5% to get you and be interested and find what you do relevant, in my experience, I found that talking about what you do and why you do it are the most powerful levers that you can pull. How you do it comes afterwards. So let's take your example, Diane. You do Reiki. So for somebody to understand what Reiki is and why you are passionate in being a Reiki practitioner is the most powerful messaging that you can get across to people who don't yet know you much, who aren't really in your world yet. The how you do Reiki, that can come afterwards, because if they connect with you and they like you, they understand what you do, it interests them, and why you do it helps them to connect to you, and they understand your belief in it and your passion for it. To them, it doesn't really matter how you do it. That can be the next piece of communication, served up in a different way to a different audience in a different medium when the time is right. But for those initial moments where you want to present and promote what you do, think about talking predominantly about what you do and why you do it. That allows people to hit the like or relevant button really quickly, and the how you do it can come afterwards. Does it matter to you how I would coach you if you worked with me one-to-one? What I need you to know is what I can help you do and why I believe those skills will help you achieve what it is that you want to achieve. How I actually get you to have those skills is less important in those initial moments. So that's everything that I wanted to say about audience filters. If you've never been aware of why some people just seem to have clients gravitate towards them, or to always be clearly understood and be surrounded by people who would happily recommend them, the chances are when they've spoken, when they've communicated, they have hit one or both of filters that the audience apply. Is this interesting to me? Is this relevant to me? If it's interesting and relevant, they're likely to use you. If it's interesting but not relevant, they are likely to recommend you because you were memorable. That's everything I want to share with you. Think about your audience filters the next time you communicate and let me know how you get on. Diane, it was a blessing to have you with me live. Love you long time. I'll speak to you all very soon. See you for the next video. Bye.